As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows over Strausstown Road in Berks County, Pennsylvania, a sense of tranquility descends. The air cools, and the sky transforms into a canvas of vibrant colors, painting a picturesque scene of rural beauty. But as twilight deepens, the world seems to slip into another time, a realm where the veil between realities thins. The familiar landscape takes on an ethereal quality, shrouded in mist and mystery. The road, flanked by ancient trees that stand as silent sentinels, feels heavy with history, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal arms, guarding secrets of the past. These trees have witnessed generations come and go, their roots intertwined with the very soil that holds the stories of this land. It's a silence deeper than the mere absence of city noise, a profound stillness that resonates with an unspoken narrative. It's a silence that seems to listen, to wait, to hold its breath in anticipation. There are no streetlights to pierce the encroaching darkness, just your headlights slicing through the inky blackness, creating an ephemeral tunnel of light that reveals only what lies directly ahead. The world beyond the beams remains hidden, a realm of unseen possibilities and lurking shadows. Every sound in the woods is amplified by the stillness, your imagination working overtime, filling the shadows with unseen watchers, with rustling leaves becoming whispered voices, and the snap of a twig transforming into the sound of approaching footsteps. This isn't just a road connecting two points. It's a place where the past lingers, where the veil between then and now is thin, where echoes of bygone eras resonate in the very air you breathe. The land here has witnessed centuries of hardship, resilience, and untold stories, and the atmosphere is thick with a sorrow that seeps from the soil, a palpable sense of melancholy that clings to the landscape like the morning mist. It's not just a creepy feeling, a fleeting shiver down your spine. It's the echo of a tragedy, a deep-seated wound in the land that gave this place its whispered name, a name that carries the weight of sorrow and the stain of blood, bloody spring. As night falls completely, the familiar landmarks become alien, distorted by the darkness and the shadows, transforming the landscape into something both beautiful and unsettling, and the silence grows. No longer just an absence of sound, but a tangible presence, a watchful entity that seems to observe your every move. The stories that haunt this road aren't sensational tales of monsters or demons, they're personal, intimate tragedies, and all the more disturbing for their grounded reality, their connection to human suffering. They're born from a single, horrific moment in history, a flashpoint of violence and despair that refuses to fade, its echoes reverberating through the years, clinging to the land and the collective memory of its inhabitants. Here the past isn't just remembered in history books or dusty archives, it's felt in the very air, in the subtle shifts in temperature, in the weight of the silence. The road holds its breath, waiting for someone to listen to the whispers of the past, to acknowledge the stories that lie buried beneath the surface. This is where the legends begin, not in grand pronouncements or epic battles, but in the quiet corners of the human heart, in the lingering echoes of tragedy and loss. To understand the spectral tales that cling to Strausstown Road, to truly grasp the source of its unsettling reputation, we must travel back to the 1750s, a pivotal era in American history, when Pennsylvania was not the settled landscape we know today, but a wild, unforgiving, and dangerous frontier. It was a land of opportunity, yes, but also a land of immense peril. Settlers like the Spatz family and countless others carved out their lives in the shadow of the unknown, pushing the boundaries of civilization, battling not only the harsh elements, brutal winters and sweltering summers, but also constant, very real threats to their survival. The French and Indian War, a conflict that reshaped the continent, turned these very woods into a bloody battleground, transforming the familiar landscape into a theater of war. It was a time where raids and ambushes were commonplace, blurred the already thin line between soldier and civilian, forcing ordinary people to become warriors overnight. Fear was not an occasional visitor, but a daily companion. It was an ever-present shadow, because every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig, every sound emanating from the forest could signal impending disaster. Native American raids, fueled by territorial disputes and alliances, allied with the French against the British colonists, brought unimaginable terror and devastation to isolated homesteads scattered throughout the wilderness. Homes were burned to the ground, reduced to smoldering ashes, families were torn apart and destroyed, their lives irrevocably shattered, and those who survived lived in a perpetual state of constant alert, forever vigilant against the next attack. The psychological toll of this relentless fear and uncertainty was immense, a burden that weighed heavily on the minds and souls of the settlers because every sunset brought not peace but new anxiety, a fresh wave of dread washing over the land. The haunting of Strausstown Road, the eerie phenomena reported for generations, is deeply rooted in this dark and turbulent era of violence, loss, and profound trauma. The spirits said to linger here are not mere figments of imagination, but echoes of real people, shaped and scarred by unimaginable fear, their final moments etched into the very fabric of this place. The pervasive sense of dread that lingers is not a recent phenomenon. It's been soaked into the land, absorbed by the trees and stones for well over 250 years, a testament to the suffering endured. This, then, is the true origin of the haunting, a legacy of fear etched into the soul of Strausstown Road. At the heart of this haunting, woven into the very fabric of the land, is the story of the Spatz family. A story not just of legend, whispered in hushed tones around campfires, but of brutal historical fact, etched in the annals of colonial Pennsylvania. These aren't mere ghost stories, they are echoes of a real-life tragedy. German immigrants George and Margaretha Spatz, seeking a haven from the old world with their 5 children, each carrying the hope of a brighter future, built a homestead near a spring, a vital source of life in the untamed wilderness, seeking a new life, a chance to carve out their own destiny in the vast, unforgiving landscape of the new world. They sought peace, prosperity, and freedom. But in March 1756, under a sky heavy with foreboding, their world was shattered, their dreams turned to dust. A raiding party, driven by the brutal realities of frontier conflict, descended on their home. Their arrival marked the end of innocence. George and Margaretha were killed and scalped, their lives brutally extinguished in a senseless act of violence. The children suffered the same fate, their innocent lives cut short, their laughter silenced forever. The historical records, stained with the ink of sorrow, describe a scene of utter horror, a tableau of unimaginable brutality. The massacre was total, leaving nothing but devastation and despair in its wake. Erasing the family from the land as if they had never existed, leaving only a void in the wilderness. Neighbors, drawn by a sense of unease, found the home, transformed into a slaughterhouse, a gruesome testament to the savagery of the times. The ground soaked in blood, a permanent stain on the earth, a grim reminder of the tragedy that unfolded. News of the Spatz Massacre carried on the wind sent shockwaves through the settlements, igniting fear and paranoia in the hearts of every man, woman, and child, confirming every settler's worst fears that the wilderness held not only promise but also unimaginable danger. The Spatz family became a symbol of the frontier's brutality, a stark reminder of the price of settlement. This event, this horrific tragedy, is ground zero for every strange tale on Strausstown Road, the epicenter of the haunting. The haunting is a direct echo of that day, a psychic imprint burned into the land, the screams, forever trapped in the atmosphere, the sorrow, a palpable weight in the air, the psychic scar that refuses to heal. The land remembers, holding on to the pain and suffering, refusing to let the story fade, clinging to the memory of the Spatz family and their tragic fate. The Spatz tragedy is the soul of Bloody Spring, forever staining its waters with sorrow and despair. After the massacre, the area around the Spatz homestead became a place to avoid, especially at night. Early reports spoke of disembodied screams and the cries of children echoing from the woods. These weren't just ghost stories, they were earnest accounts from terrified settlers. The sounds seemed to replay the victims' final moments trapped in a loop. Over time, people saw fleeting shadows and felt an oppressive sense of being watched. The sensation was so strong it sent chills down spines, even on warm nights. The tales became local folklore passed down with solemn respect. The haunting was not a thrill but a sorrow that settled over the land. Central to the legend is the spring that drew the Spatz family here, a symbol of life turned into a symbol of death. After the massacre, it's said the blood ran down the hill and stained the spring red. For years, locals claimed the water would run crimson on the attack's anniversary, or after heavy rain, a supernatural sign of the land's trauma. The spring became a physical memorial, where the violence of the past bubbled up into the present. Paranormal activity centered on the spring's sudden chills, splashing sounds, and a reddish mist hovering over the water. The exact location is now lost, but the legend endures. The Bloody Spring transforms the story from ghost tale to elemental myth. It suggests trauma so deep it altered the land itself. The Springs legend is the most powerful symbol of Strausstown Road's haunting. Here, history and legend bleed together. The Spatz tragedy nearly repeated itself with their neighbors, the Degler family. The same raiding party approached the Degler farm, but a quick-thinking son spotted them and raised the alarm. The family barricaded themselves inside, turning their cabin into a fortress. The attackers tried to break in, but the Deglers fought back, firing through the walls. After a tense standoff, the raiders retreated. The Deglers survived, but the ordeal left them forever changed. Their narrow escape amplified the community's fear. The massacre wasn't an isolated event, it was part of a campaign of terror. The Deglers' story became a living reminder of how close death was on the frontier. The haunting of Strausstown Road persists, its core elements unchanged. Modern visitors, unaware of the history, report the same feelings of being watched from the woods. Auditory phenomena, phantom footsteps, frantic running, and sometimes distant screams are still reported. Unexplained lights, floating orbs weaving through the trees add to the mystery. Skeptics offer explanations, but witnesses insist the lights move with purpose. The most disturbing experiences are emotional, sudden waves of sadness or fear, as if the land itself mourns. Visitors feel tragedy and loss, a psychic residue from the massacre. The atmosphere is saturated with sorrow, and sensitive souls tune into its echo. Here, the past is not just remembered, it's relived. The road's haunting is as much emotional as it is supernatural. Why isn't Strausstown Road more famous? Because its haunting is deeply personal, not theatrical. There's no grand mansion or tourist attraction, just a lonely road and a vanished spring. The story is rooted in real tragedy, not spectacle. The spirits here aren't performing, they're echoes of a family lost to violence. The haunting is quiet, solemn, and treated with reverence by locals. It's a piece of history, not a commercial ghost story. To sensationalize it would dishonor the memory of the Spatz family. The community guards the story, keeping it authentic and unexploited. This haunting is about memory and loss, not scares. The phenomena are a memorial, not an attraction. Its obscurity is a testament to its authenticity. Strausstown Road's story is more than a local ghost tale. It's a reminder that history hides in plain sight. Every backroad and forgotten field has a story, often tragic, waiting to be heard. These places are raw, unpolished, and real. Corridors through time lined with invisible ghosts. Standing here, you're not just hearing a story, you're part of it. The Spatz family's tragedy is a vital piece of the American experience, a reminder of the cost of building a nation. Their ghosts, and others like them, are guardians of memory. Next time you're on a lonely road at sunset, slow down and listen. The wind, the trees, the silence, they all have stories to tell. The past isn't gone, it's waiting for someone to listen. Bloody Springs legend endures, quietly echoing through the land.